What's up, folks? How we doing tonight? Richard, how are you tonight?
Okay, Adam, how you been, man?
Doing good, doing good.
Long time no talk.
Right? I'm not gonna pull a Dylan on us again tonight and just leave.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
He does it every Tuesday.
Does he really? I guess it's the first time I've been around for him to do it.
Yeah, he gets I guess he just gets bored of the topics and he's like, fucking them out.
Well,
It is what it is. Anyway, Rich, well, we know our Buckos are now eliminated officially.
they are. They are. I'm nowhere near as negative Nancy as a lot of people are about this team right now. Do I think they have a lot of improvement to make? Absolutely. Do I think that they're the absolute worst team in the league, as many people think they are? No. If you read any of these, anybody that reads and believes any of these message boards, um,
I laugh.
there's that old line of believe half of what you see and a quarter of what you hear. And that's pretty much the way it is with this. Um, they're not as bad as people think they are. They're a couple of steps away from being a contender. I really firmly believe that. I've said that before. Um, there's a lot to look forward to next year with this team. Pitching, especially starting pitching. Let me preface that. Starting pitching. When you've got Skeens and Jones and Keller and Falter and the kid, I can never remember this kid's name that they're looking at bringing up. Is it Crawford?
That name rings a bell.
But you got those guys. You've got Reynolds. You got Izzy. You've got, as much as a lot of people are kind of flipping out a little bit, you got O'Neill Cruz. I don't think Brian Hayes is with this team next year. You got Joey Bart, who I think can definitely be a valuable piece to this team next year. There are pieces if they can just make some moves. But let me ask you a question, because I've been thinking about this all day. If you were Bob Nutting, okay,
Okay.
and you could make two moves, two, to make that and money's not a factor in this thing, but you could make two moves for this team for the upcoming year. What two moves are they?
We doing free agency? We trading? What are we doing?
Whatever moves, if you want to lower the price of hot dogs at the stadium, that's fine. You're making two moves about this team for next year. What two moves are you making?
Well, you should have prepared me for this question, but I'm not prepared.
Sorry,
So
I figured I'd spring it on you. Now, I can tell you this: hiring and firing is one move. Because I know you have this thing about wanting to get Shelton out the door as quick as you can.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, even though it's proven he's not very good. But
Well, no,
hey, as long as you hang around the Mendoza line, you're good. You're good. You're a good coach in this city.
well,
You knew that shot was coming.
see, yeah, but while you're thinking about this, one of the moves I would make is getting rid of Shelton, and I empty the coffers for a Pittsburgh guy to bring him in. And I put any and every dollar possible in front of Terry Francona and say, do something with this bunch.
I don't know if you want that headache.
I'm just saying, I put whatever, if he wants 15 mil a year, great. Here you go. Check here. Right
Yeah,
there.
I would empty the bank for Francona for sure. That would be something of a move to go after for sure. Obviously, we have our core pitchers. We have 3 for sure. A fourth is there. A fifth, maybe we could sign a fifth and bring him in. And maybe we end up with a decent pitcher and he comes in as our fourth. Who knows?
Mhm.
But our top 3 slots are filled. I thought they should have been filled at the beginning of the year, but everyone disagreed with me. Um, so obviously, I would go after Juan Soto. I think he'd love our fortune, right?
I told you, money is no object.
I would go after Juan Soto and fire Shelton. That would
Well,
put that,
I would I would definitely get rid of Shelton and bring in Francona, and Francona specifically, mainly because I know Bruce Bochy ain't available, and he's not. The Rangers will be his last job. Um, he's just getting to that age. He's pushing 80, and the Rangers will be his last job. But the Francona not only being the Pittsburgh guy, and just his track record of what he has done as a manager. This is the kind of team that really reminds me a lot of what the Indians were like whenever he got them. The only problem was we don't have Manny Ramirez and or Joey Bell sitting there in the minor league system, and it was Joey then, folks. It became Albert Bell, but we don't have those guys as the Pirates organization sitting in the minor league system to bring up. That's the only major issue that there is with that stuff. And your idea about Soto is great. I 100% understand it. No question about it. I'm with you. I like where you're going. But run this up the flagpole real quick.
those would be my 2 moves. What about you? Besides the manager. Obviously, we both agree on.
We both agree on that. And I'm not discounting the Soto thing. I agree that Soto would make monster impact on this team. But, and I know this is going to sound really weird, outside of a few guys, I put a list together for the Dodgers and say, I want the guy that's wearing 17.
Well, no, we're not. No. Okay, maybe we should have stuck to like free. What are you going to trade? Well, you're going to have to give up the house for him.
You might have to give up the house to get him. You
Up
might
and,
have to give up one of those 3 pitchers.
and what does? Yeah, you might have to give up all 3.
No.
Yeah,
And that's why I say, remember, this is a hypothetical, no money issue thing, okay? Purely hypothetical. I'd bring in Ohtani before I brought in Soto.
I was looking at availability though.
Availability wise, it probably would be Soto. But if all things were equal, if everyone was available, I'm going after Ohtani. I'm going 100% after Shohei Ohtani, because he will be back pitching. And if I can have that dual threat, the guy's going to go 50-50 unless he ends up on the IL for the last 2 weeks of the season.
So on
He's
Monday,
48.
on Monday, I was talking with Chase, Mark, and Jason. We were talking Green Bay, and then all of a sudden, like every show we do, we get sidetracked, obviously. And he and Chase brought up to Jason that Ohtani might be pitching in October.
I've heard that he is having really good bullpen sessions, and that is a possibility. Yeah, that they could arguably use him out of the bullpen. I don't know that they're looking at running him out long enough to start, But from what I've heard, I was listening to Chris Russo on High Heat the other day, and he was talking to a guy with the Dodgers, and they said that they're very impressed with what he's been doing in those bullpen sessions. They need pitching. I mean, heck, they've got a freaking full all-star rotation on the injured list.
That's what I mean. Like if we went after Otani, they would definitely want Jones and Skeens. I don't think they would want the veteran and Keller. They would want the young bucks.
Yeah. And that's why I say you submit a list of people that are no touch, which to me would only be two guys. There's only two guys that would be no touch on that list: Skeens and Cruz. That's it.
And I guarantee we're not getting Otani without giving up one of those two pieces. We'd probably have to give up all three.
I'll tell you what, though, I would, no questions asked, if they said they wanted Jones and Cruz for Otani, I'd do it today.
There's no way they would want Skeens. There's no way. They're not leaving.
But remember, this whole situation is hypothetical.
Right. And I'm looking at it as reality, I guess. Like, there's no way you're not going to get. Yeah. You're telling me you'd be happy with that return of Jones and Cruz?
Well, you'd probably have to throw some minor leaguers in there or something like that. But, you know.
I mean, that's how good he is. I mean, that's how good he is.
No, he is. He's a transcendent player. He's going to go 50-50. He's what, 48-48 right now, I think, as we talk on September 18th. So unless he just goes into some un-Otani-like slump, he's going to get 50-50. It's bananas. It really is, because, you know, he's going to do all this stuff. And I would have loved to have seen Ozuna stay healthy, because you were arguably looking at the possibility of having Ozuna going after a triple crown and Otani doing what he's doing. And who's your MVP?
Well, Ozuna did hit one tonight.
Right, but remember, he was out for a stretch, injured.
Right.
A long stretch. That, you know, if he's going after a triple crown, and say he gets it, because that after about, what was it, not 80 games, 90 games maybe, he was second in average, first in homers, first in RBI. Otani was second in homers and second, and then of course Otani went ahead of him and all that kind of stuff. But that would have been really interesting to see if Otani goes 50-50 and Ozuna wins the Triple Crown. Who gets the MVP?
I still feel like give it to Otani.
It would be a tough vote.
That's just the way I feel.
You could be right. I mean, I don't think there's a wrong answer. It's kind of the question of Prince or Michael. There's not a wrong answer. I really don't, there's not a wrong answer. You can make a very valid case for both. I mean, heck, a guy wins a Triple Crown. Okay, he deserves to be MVP. Guy went 50-50. Okay, he deserves to be MVP. I mean,
now the MVP of also saying Otani doesn't play the field.
Well, but Ozuna doesn't play the field that much.
Right. So,
I mean, he probably.
This leads me to believe: are we just going to get a batting category MVP?
I don't think so, because pitchers are able to win the MVP, and all they do is pitch. So,
if give or take.
No, but like when Verlander won, pitchers can win it if they're that good, even though they only pitch 35 times a year as starters.
We're never going to see a pitcher win an MVP award again.
I will bet you this. I'll solidly bet you this. Emmanuel Clase will get MVP votes in the American League.
That's unheard of, a closer getting MVP.
But if you look at the numbers he's putting up and compare them at any point in time to Mariano Rivera, they're better than what Mariano Rivera's average year was.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I like Emmanuel.
I think he's fantastic. And if he can keep doing what he's doing, my gosh, man. If he can keep this up 6, 7, 8 years, hard to say he's not a Hall of Famer.
Right?
Because he's had what, 3 really good years in a row now? And if he ends up with 8 or 9 really, really that type of years, and you're going to start mentioning him in the same breath as Trevor Hoffman and Mariano and guys like that, okay. Big thing's going to be health, because I don't think he's that old.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah. He is 26.
He's not that old at all.
So, I mean, if he goes, 6 more years, he's only going to be 32. And because he turned 26 at the start of the season. So, but I mean, he's got 157 Ks already in his career. This is his. Let's see. And the crazy part is, who he started with?
He's got over 300 strikeouts so far.
Mm-hmm. But he started with the Rangers.
Did he sign as a free agent with Cleveland?
No, he got traded. But he comes in 5th in Rookie of the Year in 21. All-Star 22, All-Star 23, All-Star 24. 46, 42, 44. I'm sorry, the last 3 years, 42, 44, and right now he's got 46 saves. He only had 24 his rookie year. I mean,
wait, his rookie year was 19, right? He had 1.
Well, but he didn't pitch enough to get rid of his rookie status, which is why he ended up being 5th in Rookie of the Year in 21. So, yeah, he had that 1 save in 2019, but he had 24 in 2021.
But he went 2 and 3 in 19.
Right, but he also had 1 save. He didn't pitch enough innings to take away his rookie status.
Oh, is that how it works for pitchers?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
I think it's 20. I think that the line is 25 innings, if I remember right. But yeah, in 2021, he finished 5th in Rookie of the Year. Yeah, that would. Yeah, the guys ahead of him in Rookie of the Year. 4th was Adolis Garcia. 3rd was the guy who should no longer be named from Tampa. 2nd was Luis Garcia from Houston. Rookie of the Year that year was Randy Arozarena. That was a heck of a rookie class, man. Behind Clase was Mountcastle from Baltimore, Shane McClanahan from Tampa, and Alek Manoah. That's a pretty heavy top 8 rookies, man. But yeah, I mean, if Clase can, wow.
Twins and Guardians. They're in the bottom of the 10th right now, and the Guardians just tied it up at 4.
I'll tell you what, man. I picked Baltimore to come out of the AL at the beginning of the year. But the more that I'm sitting here watching it, man, I'm having a hard time not leading Cleveland's way as we get ready for postseason.
It was gonna be Cleveland and Baltimore.
I think those are the two best teams in the American League. I don't believe in Houston. When you look at the playoff standings right now
You still have to be
in the
scared of them.
American League. Say again.
You still have to be scared of the Pinstripes.
I'm not that scared of the Pinstripes. Once you get past Judge and Soto, what do they got? Very seriously, once you get if you get rid of Judge and Soto,
Guys that come up with key hits. Labor
Yeah.
Torres a little warm lately. Obviously, I mean they still have LeMahieu, right?
they do, but LeMahieu's hurt more than he's available.
I don't know.
The thing I would look at with the Yankees, very seriously, I would look at with the Yankees, and this may sound dumb, Aaron Judge never swings the bat in a series. He steps in and I go like this. I don't care if the bases are loaded. I'm not letting him beat me. I'll take my chances with Soto. And the rest of that lineup, I'm not concerned about.
I don't know. They just find ways to win, Rich.
They do. But how much of that is built around a key hit from Soto or a key hit from Judge? And if you take away part of that, take the bat out of their hands and force the other 7 guys in the lineup to beat you, especially if you're a team like Baltimore, you know. But Kansas City is going to be sneaky. I'm real curious to see who's going to get those last 2 playoff spots. I think Kansas City locks into one of them. But you got Minnesota, you got Detroit is a game and a half out of the wild card. You heard that right. Detroit is a game and a half out of the last wild card spot. And Seattle's 3 back. I don't think anybody else has a chance to take it out. Could you imagine if it was Baltimore, KC, and Detroit as the 3 wild cards?
What did Detroit do tonight?
Detroit tonight is they're beating Kansas City 4-1 in the bottom of the 6th.
So just to let you know, if Cleveland makes it 5-4 and they win in this game tonight, that puts Detroit. I don't know what the tiebreaker is, but that puts Detroit at 80 wins, the same as the Twins.
As they sit right now, Minnesota's got 80, Detroit's got 79. Yeah, right now.
Right, but what I just said.
So
Minnesota loses this game in extra innings because Cleveland just tied it.
Yeah, that would be weird. Cleveland just won it.
Yes, they did, 5-4.
So you could conceivably have, by the end of the night tonight, Detroit at 80, Minnesota at 80, Kansas City at 82. So much for the AL Central sucking, right?
I never said they would.
No. Look at the last couple of years. That division has been horrible the last couple of years.
Detroit's playing Kansas City.
Say again?
Detroit's playing Kansas City.
Right. So if Detroit wins and gets to 80, Kansas City will still be at 82. But that to say, 3 teams in the AL Central fighting for the last 2 playoff spots. The last couple of years, that AL Central was horrific. Your playoff teams were coming from the West and the East. It wasn't coming from the Central. But if you look at the young talents, especially on Kansas City and Detroit, I mean, it's hard to argue Tarek Skubal isn't the Cy Young winner in the American
Cleveland
League.
under a magic number right now.
Say again?
Is Cleveland under a magic number right now?
They are.
About if Detroit holds on, and Cleveland won, that's a 2-game sweep.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. They're up 6. Let's see. 140, 153. If my math is right, the magic number should be 6.
With the double tonight, it should be 4.
No. With what happened tonight.
Oh, obviously Detroit is only up 4-1. They haven't won yet.
Right, and it's only the 6th inning. Okay, here we go. I want to make sure I'm right on this before I. Okay, the Brewers clinched their division today. Clinched the division today. The Guardians, their magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 2. So if they win tonight, they're guaranteed at worst a tie for the last playoff spot.
They should have got the last. They should have clinched playoff spot tonight for sure. But they got a 2-point swing.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. They did with that win tonight. Yes, you're right. So Cleveland is guaranteed in the playoffs, which is a shocker to nobody.
Nobody.
The division, it's 6. To win the division, it's 6. So
Look at MLB.com. It doesn't even have clinch playoff spots on here.
wow.
Oh, it says
Yeah, I'm bouncing. I'm bouncing between a couple of different between ESPN and CBS and MLB and Baseball Reference and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a fun last 2 weeks. I mean, there's division titles on the line. It's not just teams fighting for wild cards. I mean, as we sit right now, the Orioles are only 4.5 up on the Yankees. Seattle's 4.5 up on Houston, but I think Seattle could catch Houston if they would just start hitting the ball. They could pass Houston.
And the Yankees are up on the Orioles.
Sir,
you said the Orioles are up 4.5. The Yankees are up.
Well, yeah, the Yankees are up 4.5 on the Orioles. I'm sorry, I misspoke. And then, in the National League, the Padres are only 3 behind the Dodgers. And the Padres are hot right now. As hot as Arizona was, like the latter part of August, late part of August, and early September. That's how hot the Padres have been in the month of September. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and they've got 3 with the White Sox this weekend. We all know how that's probably going to turn out. That's at worst 2 out of 3. So, we're looking at a San Diego team that by the time this weekend's over could conceivably be at 90 wins. They're going to make the playoffs. I mean, there's very little doubt of that. They've got the number 1 wild card spot by 3 games over Arizona. My question though is, do the Mets hang on, or do the Braves slide into that spot? They're a game and a half back. The Braves are.
They both won tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're winning tonight. It was 10-0 and I think 7-1. 10-0
Yeah.
Mets, 7-1 Braves.
But I mean, do the Mets hold on, or
look? No one expected them to even be in this situation.
Oh heck no! and it's been 95% because of one guy. Lindor has played MVP baseball for the last 60 days. if he doesn't get dramatic consideration for MVP, there's something wrong. Because the meaning of the award this year is hands down Francisco Lindor. I mean, he has the Mets would not be anywhere close to where they are without him this year. No question about it. I still, I said at the start of the year, Philly in the National League. I still stand by Philly in the National League, especially with the Dodgers pitching issues. The only team that I really think could take out Philly is Milwaukee. As weird as that sounds, but Milwaukee's playing good baseball. They really are. In fact, they're playing each other right now. It's 1-1, top of the seventh. But I mean, that could be a really fun playoff series. And of course, you got Rhys Hoskins on the Brewers, former Philly. But it does hurt the Brewers that Yelich is out for the year.
So Billy Cook is in center field tonight for the Pirates. Is that who you were talking about?
He may be, yeah. And he may be one of those guys that come next year, he's in the lineup. I've heard good things. Looking at numbers, I've also seen things about York, as Nick York. So he had 3 hits. What was that? Last night or Monday night? He had 3 hits. So I think that the Pirates have a foundation right now, and I think they've got some young guys that during spring training next year can show that they can play. I think it's going to help Nick Gonzalez having what he's done this year, getting all of spring training next year. But who in the world is going to play first base on this team next year? That to me is one of the biggest questions. By the way, Adolis Garcia just went deep. 1-0 Rangers. 6th inning.
Are they eliminated?
The Rangers? No, not yet.
Are they close?
I think they're like a game away, like 1 loss away or something like that. But I mean, Seager's done for the year. He had that sports hernia surgery, so he's done for the rest of the season. I mean, it just hasn't been. It has been a mash unit in Arlington this year.
It's stretches 2-0 just to let you know.
Say again.
Langford was on base.
Oh yeah, it was a 2-run ball. But yeah, I mean, it has been a literal mash unit this year. In fact, if you look at who's on there right now, it's still it's bananas. As you sit right this second, you've got Jose Urena was put on the list Sunday. Grant Anderson's on the list right now. Corey Seager's on the list right now. John Gray is on the list right now. Tyler Mahley's on the list right now. Josh Sborz, Evan Carter's been out all season. And those are just guys right now. We just activated Jacob deGrom. Literally just activated him. Just reactivated Max Scherzer. Didn't have Cody Bradford for first 100 games. Josh Young was out for 8 weeks with a busted wrist. The only starting pitcher that hasn't seen any time on the injured list this year is Andrew Heaney, and he's probably the worst of their bunch. The only position player I think that hasn't seen time on the injured list is Marcus Semien.
I was just gonna say, I was just thinking Marcus Semien.
I don't know if Heim spent time on the injured list or not, but everybody else has spent time on the list. Some a lot of time. Like I say, Evan Carter was expected to be your starting left fielder. He played 2 games and we haven't seen him the rest of the year because of his back. And the kid may never play again. That's the bad part. Because they think that they're still giving it rest and all that kind of stuff, but they're afraid it's a degenerative thing. And if it's a degenerative thing, man, he could be done at 22. Which sucks. Wyatt Langford's had a really good year, but he was supposed to be he wasn't really supposed to be an everyday player this year. He's played tremendous. No question.
Sometimes you get called to duty.
Yeah, I mean, he's done what he was supposed to do. Josh Smith has played tremendously. Josh Smith, to me, it was the perfect replacement for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in Texas. The Rangers got him as part of the Joey Gallo trade with the Yankees. And Smith has a little more power than IKF, but outside of that, I mean, he can play 5 different positions, can hit anywhere in the lineup. I wouldn't put him in cleanup, but if he has to, he has to. But all that to say, going back to the Pirates, I think there are a lot of things that we can look forward to for next season with the Pirates.
Yeah, that's what like I said. We need a bat or two, maybe even three. We need at least 3 bats, Rich. I mean, you keep saying we got good starting pieces, but we need 3 big pieces.
We need at least 2 bats. I think you're right, because you have Reynolds already. You have Cruz already. You need a bat at third, and you need a bat at first.
So
That's where
Alex,
you need those bats.
what would you think, Alex Bregman? But his back's
Say
always
again.
bothered too. Alex Bregman, he's a free agent.
I hope this year's an anomaly. I mean, Bregman's usually a pretty solid player.
He's awful.
Um,
Awful.
he's what now?
He's not having a good year.
No, and that's why I say I hope it's an anomaly, um, because his stats this year are not good. I think he's hitting I think he got it up to 250. Let's see, 256.
Which
Um,
Pirate squad, that'd be pretty good.
yeah, but that's not Bregman for his career. I mean, when you look, he's got some 270s, 290s, 280s, that kind of stuff in there. Um, he hits, his 23 bombs, 67 RBI this year. Um, would I like him at third? Yeah. Yeah. Would the Pirates cough up the cash for him? That's a whole different question, because Bregman's probably going to take 20 mil a year. He's probably going to take 15, 20 mil a year.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to stay in.
Um,
I don't know if they're going to try and sign him or not. I haven't heard anything. But you're actually in.
I've heard, yeah, I mean, I've heard that there's contract talks in the plans. There are 2 very important words that could be a major red light to the whole deal, and that's Scott Boras. Um, he's Scott Boras doesn't care about anything else but getting the money. For any of his players. Bregman's 30, so he's still probably got 5 good years left in it. If the Pirates offered 5 and 100, maybe might take more than that. There's also a story that came out yesterday about Bregman that he has said that he would consider moving to second. And see, Scott Boras is saying that he's expecting he's expecting contract offers to be somewhere in the 175 to $200 million range for 8 to 10 years. So you're talking 23 to 25 million.
Oh, he's got one of the best agents in the game for sure.
Depending on how you look at it. So again,
Well, I'm looking at it from like if he was my agent, I know I'm getting paid. From an owner perspective and a fan perspective, it looks like they're greedy. But in reality,
well, it's all
we all want paid.
we do, but it also gets down to that thing, and this is one of the problems that I have with athletes anyway, professional athletes anyway. Too many of them are more concerned about the money than winning or being in the place that they need. That's why you don't see guys with teams. You don't see the Dirk Nowitzkis or the guys that stay with one team for 20 years. You don't see that, or the Mike Trouts. You don't see that anymore. Trout may be the last in baseball that does something like that. He's spent his entire career with the Angels. You see guys bouncing around like crazy, and that it kind of it affects the loyalty with your teams because you start following a guy and then he's gone. So I mean, are you more concerned about the money or are you more concerned about winning? And unfortunately, there's too many guys in sports right now, and I'm not just saying baseball, I'm saying sports across the board, that are more concerned about money than they are winning games.
Do you think a lot of that has to do with like watching early football and seeing those guys not get paid big time? And now all of a sudden you see them struggling later in life. I'm not talking about like the Terry Bradshaws, and I'm not talking about the ones that went on and did TV. I'm talking about the ones that didn't really pan out, and they didn't get big contracts, and they didn't do their money right. Do you think that's why these guys are going after this big now, so they're able to go when they're 50, 48, 50, or just done playing football, and they have nothing to rely on? Because
I think that's a possibility, but what can you buy? It's like Pudge Rodriguez said in Texas. What can you buy with 7 million that you couldn't buy with 5? And if that's the reason why you leave a team is because of $2 million that you've been with forever in 3 days, what can you honestly buy with 7 that you couldn't have bought with 5? Or things of that nature. I get the biggest thing is the agents and the players are looking that the owners are making all the they think the owners are making all kinds of money off of this stuff. They're not understanding the fact of what the owners are putting back into the team. They're thinking that they're getting these billions and billions of dollars and they're sitting back getting all this money and they want their piece of it. Well, their piece of it is one thing, but getting a whole lot more than what they're worth and then not performing afterwards. We talked about this last night on Open Mic. If you get a chance to check that out on YouTube or on our Facebook page or my Facebook page, Twitter, same with Adam.
So,
We talked about that last night.
but like that raise could possibly put more in your pocket and put you at making say Boris takes 2 million. Okay, just throwing a ballpark number out there. I don't really know what the days take, but all of a sudden,
Agents get 10% of what their players get.
so this guy makes 2 million more going to this team, and Scott Boris takes 2 million. Guess what? He's still making what he made on that team, but he's able to see it all. He's not paying his agent what he should have been making because he was losing 2 million, say 2 million on the last contract, and now all of a sudden he's going to make 2 million more. So he's not really gaining anything if he's paying his agent, but he's making that plateau of what he made before.
Well, it using round numbers, okay?
That's what I
If
was
you
doing.
get a five if you get
Okay.
a $5 million contract, $500,000 goes to your agent. Okay, that's right off the top. Well, not right off the top. It does come off of that 5 million, but then you take taxes out of it, which is half your money right there. Between the two, that's half your money.
Well, not if you
Um,
in what Dallas? There's no income tax, right?
Texas doesn't have a state income tax, but you still got to pay federal.
Okay, and
And
then
federal, that's
Florida
thirty
doesn't
five percent price. That's 35% tax bracket.
Florida doesn't have a Florida doesn't have it income tax.
No, Florida doesn't either, but you still have to pay federal. You don't pay state income tax, but you do have to pay federal income tax, which federal income tax with that kind of money is 35%.
So,
So you take that 35 plus the 10 that goes to your agent, half of your contract is gone before you ever smell it.
well, plus they might want a bigger contract too. I don't know if you know this or not, but whenever they travel, they get paid what state they're in. They don't get paid from their home state. They get paid what state they're in.
Right. If you're playing for Pittsburgh, you get paid Pennsylvania. So
No,
you're paying Pennsylvania
if
taxes,
you're on the
Pennsylvania
West
state
Coast,
taxes.
you're on the West Coast working, you're in that tax code. Did you know that?
That's not the way it works whenever they're getting their contracts. When they sign their contract with, let's just say, the Rangers,
Well,
okay?
that was told to me by
They're
that
getting
was
paid
by McHenry.
they're getting paid by the Rangers. Yeah, they're getting paid out of
No,
Arlington, Texas.
but like where they work, that's where they're getting paid by the Rangers, but their tax code is wherever they're playing.
It doesn't break down by game as far as, okay, for three 160 seconds of it goes toward California because you just played a series with the Dodgers, and three 160 seconds goes into Washington because you
What
played
I
three
was
games in Seattle.
From what Mike McHenry told me, that's how it works.
From what I read in Scott Boris's book, it doesn't work that way.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to get a player on here and find out, huh?
Maybe so, because that just I can't see how that would make any sense. First off, because where your base is, say you work for IBM, okay, or SpaceX or whatever, okay, your office, your base is in Pittsburgh, but you travel all over the country for work. One week you might be in Dallas, the next week you're in Miami, the next week you're in Chicago, the next week you're in Portland. But you're getting paid from your base office in Pittsburgh. So you pay your taxes where your residence is, which is in Pittsburgh. So you're paying based on where your residency is. Now, the other part to that is some of these guys that have three, four, five houses, and that may be where Michael was talking about. Some of these guys that have a house in Pittsburgh and have one in Dallas and have one in Miami and have one in Hawaii, you have residency taxes that you have to pay in each of those states. So if they have a state income tax, you have to pay taxes on that as a property owner, as a resident of that state. If you reside in that state for more than I think it's more than 90 days. I'd have to double check that of the year. More
Okay,
than a quarter of the year. So if you live in Pittsburgh, your residence is in Pittsburgh, and that's where the whole thing comes in. Where is your residence? If you play for the Pirates, but you live in Texas, your residence is in Texas. Your paycheck comes through Texas. You don't have state income tax.
so how does that work when guys get traded then?
It transfers over that certain part of the year. They pay taxes based on this place. and then the rest of it is based off of the other place. It's tricky. I got confused reading it like 4 or 5 times. I had
We're
to
gonna
read it.
we gotta figure this out. We gotta get someone on here.
Yeah, it is tricky, but if you sign a $5 million contract, the player itself sees about 2.5 in their bank account after taxes, after paying their agent. They got about 2.5.
Which, when you're a pro, that's not that much.
But therein lies living outside of your means. And as much as I hate to say it, because it is the truth,
Oh, I know.
taking care of all of your family, and then there's going to be those, and I've heard it called this, leeches. Hey man, I need to, float me 100 grand or something. Need a new house or whatever, needed a car, and you buy this cousin or this nephew or this whatever a car, and you buy this one a car, and this one, and this and that, and next thing you know, yeah, it's gone. If you live within your means, which a lot of these guys don't, then you don't need a 30, 40, $50 million a year contract. There is no, I'll use Mahomes as the example. There is no way he needs $500 million. No way.
Brittany does.
Huh?
Brittany does.
Man, his family 5 generations from now is set. His family was set off his dad's contract. His dad made decent money in the majors.
Right.
Spent a long time in the big leagues, man.
Oh, I know. I know.
But you get the Ohtani. Come on, man. 700 million. There's towns in Japan he could buy for $700 million.
I'm sure the endorsements.
Islands.
I'm sure the endorsements coming from Japan could buy small countries in Japan.
Dude, what about the endorsements here? What do you
Right.
think? I gotta see. I wonder what New Balance is paying him. Because you see those commercials,
Oh, I see them.
and they're on all the time. Let's see. The deal is $5 million a year, and it's a 5-year deal. So he's making $5 million a year just doing New Balance. I mean, it's crazy.
Dad cutting the cutting grass dad shoes. That would have been funny. That should have been the commercial right there.
Yeah.
That
But
that
by
would
the
have
time
been.
it's all,
That
you got to figure, by the time it's all said and done, Otani's going to make $1 billion playing baseball in the States.
It's got to be close already.
Probably. Because the new contract is 700. He's probably made at least a good 150 in the time he's been playing.
Well, didn't he only take $2 million a year, and so he could let the Dodgers bring in players? Then he was going to take the rest once the contract ran out.
Yeah, it's backloaded where he's making like $2 million a year for the 7 years, or for the 10 years, and then he's going to make like 68 million a year for the next 7 years. It's freaking crazy. With the Angels, Otani earned 42 million in his 6 seasons with the Angels.
He makes that more in 1 year now. But we knew this. We knew this was coming. We knew
We
that
did.
this contract for Ohtani was coming. We knew it was coming. We had our
Right.
guess which team was going to step out, and then we knew which ones were going to step up.
Right. And you know, we're probably gonna see 500 or 600 million going to Soto.
Yeah, he's
I wouldn't be the least bit surprised he signs 10 years, 50 or 60 million a year, which is absolutely insane.
Hey, when you need a bat, you need a bat, Rich.
A hell of a lot of good bats out there. I mean, I remember when people flipped out that Nolan Ryan signed a $1 million a year deal. I remember when people flipped out when my hero growing up, one of my heroes growing up, Ryan Sandberg, signed the first $3 million a year deal. And people were losing their minds. The league minimum right now is $1 million a year.
I like it. I like it. I mean, it's just the way times are changing. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it.
I understand. Doesn't mean you got to like it.
But
That's
speaking of,
why, you know, I keep saying the guaranteed contract is the worst thing that ever happened to professional sports.
oh man, so do you do you watch the shorts, Rich, of the guys that go in there and like reword what the guys are really saying?
Sometimes, yeah.
Do you see all the Dak Prescott's today?
The thing about Uncle Jerry,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Oh
mean,
man.
Dak is going to get somebody somewhere is going to pay Dak 50 million a year.
I can tell
And
you what it's not going to be.
huh?
It's not going to be in Pittsburgh.
No. No. And here's the part that just I don't understand, okay? And for whatever reason, they always think that it's a leapfrog game. That the next guy has to get paid more than the guy right before him. No, you don't. As you sit right this second, okay, and let no punches pulled. Best quarterback in the NFL, Mahomes, right?
Right now,
Yeah,
um,
active.
on paper, it looks like Derek Carr is the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Okay, but let's go track record. Okay, let's look at
I'm just saying,
best
Rich.
quarterback in the.
He's
I
14 of
understand.
14 of 15 touchdown possession scoring. Um, he's putting up some good numbers.
I get that. Okay, I get that.
I
But
mean,
what I'm saying is best quarterback in the NFL right now,
like
Mahomes, right?
overall, it's going to be Patty Mahomes and the
Okay,
referee.
okay. Do you realize
Patty Mahomes and the
that
referee.
the best quarterback in football is the 12th highest paid quarterback in football? And it ain't even close. That's the thing that I'm just not. I sit here and I go, okay,
He's, he's
Dak's
still
got 60.
is he still under a rookie deal or what? Like, why aren't they paying him?
He signed 10 years, 500 million.
Okay,
Okay.
it's like 50
You
million.
look at the top 10. This is broken down annually. Okay. And you tell me if any of these guys are worth getting paid more than Mahomes. Okay. Dak,
Listen,
Burrow,
oh, that's it.
Burrow.
I know they both suck. Everyone's
Trevor.
shit. What? Ooh, we went to a Super
Trevor.
Bowl. Ooh, we went to the Super Bowl. Ooh, I don't care.
Yeah. Trevor.
I've never been a fan of Trevor Lawrence, so no.
Jordan Love.
I don't think he deserves it yet, but I mean, I know he got it, and Green Bay sees something. Um, so I don't know. I don't feel he deserved that much, but I felt he deserved a good raise.
Tua.
Do no more.
Goff.
We're still talking about Detroit. No, that's I'm sorry, that's the Rams.
Herbert.
No, Goff's oh my gosh, Goff is Detroit.
Goff is Detroit, yeah. Herbert, Lamar, Hurts, Murray, Deshaun. Every one of those guys is making more than Patrick Mahomes this year. Every one of them.
Have any of those guys been to the playoffs except for Joe Burrow?
Lamar.
Oh, sure.
Lamar's been to the playoffs. Well, they've all been to the playoffs. Have any of them been to the Super Bowl besides Burrow? Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
Okay, Jalen Hurts. You know, good. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is, you can see it's been a leapfrog. Mahomes got paid. Who was the next guy that got paid? It was Deshaun. Deshaun got paid $1 million a year more than him. Murray got paid a little bit more than Deshaun. Hurts got paid a little bit more than Lamar. And then it's not, it's a completely backwards way of thinking. Because how many of these guys are performing up to being paid top 10? How many? Okay, well, here would be my question. How many of these guys that are being paid top 10 are top 10 quarterbacks? Is Dak a top 10 quarterback in the league?
Right now,
Yeah.
no,
2024, this year.
no. If he puts
Okay.
up, if by the end of the season, regular season, if he ends up putting up the most points for if Cowboys are in first place for most offense, then yes, he deserves to be in this conversation somewhere.
Okay. Burrow. Is he a top 10 quarterback?
No, he hasn't proven. We got to the playoffs, but that was it. He got a Super Bowl.
Well, now we're talking about just the quarterbacks in the league right now. Is Burrow a top 10 quarterback?
I would say no.
Trevor.
Well, I'm not a fan of either one of those two guys. So you're asking like the wrong person. We need Dylan.
Well,
We need Dylan here for fight's sake.
well, Jordan Love. Is he a top 10 quarterback in the league right now?
He's going to be. He's got
Tua
like
before
we talked about on
before he got hurt.
like when we talked about on Monday with this young receiving core and how close they are, and they're going to be together for a little bit. I think too. I think Love is going to be a top 10 quarterback, maybe even top 5.
Well,
This
see, I think he's top 10 right now.
This core group.
I think he's, yeah.
I had Love as 5 or 6 on the list we did. I don't know if we did it on open mic or not, but I know I had Love at 5 or 6 or 4 maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe I did go Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Love, and I forget who I had fifth. But it was three AFC quarterbacks and then Purdy. But Purdy's gonna be nowhere near top 10 unless this week he shows us something without the guns and comes through.
Right.
Purdy needs to step up and say, I got this.
Okay. Maybe I misphrased this. When we walked into 2024, was Joe Burrow a top 10 quarterback?
I did not have. I imagine he was like 8 or 9, maybe 9 or 10 on my list.
Okay. Dak. When
I
we
mean,
walked into this season.
I had him. I think I had him at 8.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence.
I don't. I think I might have had him at 15.
Jordan Love.
Like I said, 4 or 5. I forget where.
Tua.
Well, I had to be 6 or 10,
Okay.
maybe even 10 through 15.
Okay. Goff.
Of Goff's a gunslinger, so I would definitely have him in my top 10.
Herbert.
That was walking into 2024 with the losses of with the with the loss of the 2 top wide receivers. It was hard to put him in the top 10 because
Okay.
because a lot of people didn't know who Quentin Johnson was. A lot of people didn't know who Palmer was. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
no one predicted that J.K. Dobbins was going to have a resurgence and all of a sudden not know how to get injured.
Right.
Or Gus
Lamar,
Edwards.
of course. Well, yeah, or Gus Edwards. Lamar, of course, would be top 10. I think
I
that's a
had
given.
Lamar top 2, top 3, one of the two. I forget where.
Hurts
Top 10 for sure.
or Murray.
Walking in with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. I really like Justin Wilson, but he's not proven anything this year. I really thought Hurts had 4 big guns to throw to.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then Kyler.
I mean, you're talking about an unproven rookie whose dad carried the name very well, and we didn't really have any thoughts on Marvin Harrison because we really didn't know how them two were going to connect.
Right. But okay, so going off of that, you had 6 of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. That was the top 10 in salary. You see what I'm saying? How it's not jiving that the best performing players aren't the ones getting paid the most. I don't have a problem that if you perform getting paid.
Well, Purdy's going to get
But if you're
paid.
not performing, you shouldn't be getting paid.
Purdy's going to be on this page of getting paid next year.
Say again?
Purdy's going to be on this page next year of getting paid. But we'll see. We'll see what happens now. Now you don't have all your weapons. How good is he going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, these 2 injuries are very key. I mean, now we're relying on Jennings, Brandon Ayuk.
George Kittle.
Kittle's going to have to step it up.
Oh yeah.
Then we have Mason, Isaac Guenda, whatever.
Yep.
I have no idea. Oh, this Niner team could be a mess. Either that or it could be a complete rebound, but we'll see.
Well, that's why I put out on Twitter the other day that how fortunate is it that the Niners got the deal done for Ayuk? Because if they were going into the next 3 or 4 weeks with no Ayuk, no Debo, and no CMC, good luck and God bless you on that one. Because Kittle can do a lot, but he ain't going to be able to do all of that.
And we saw flashes of Jennings last year. Just flashes.
We saw flashes, sure. But I mean, and the Niners don't exactly have a cakewalk of a schedule the next three weeks either. They got the Rams, and then they got the Patriots, and then they got the Cardinals, and then they go to Seattle for the game after that. So, it's not. It's not. Yeah, they've got 2 that they should win pretty handily, but then they've got 2 that are. If they didn't have at least one of those tools, they'd be in big trouble.
Big trouble.
And realistically, if you sit there and look at it, we've talked about how the Steelers have a really tough stretch at the end of the season. If you look from October 10th through December 1st, San Francisco's got a pretty tough run. You go at Seattle, Chiefs at home, Cowboys at home, at Tampa, Seattle at home, at Green Bay, at Buffalo. It's a tough 7-game stretch right there. You better make sure all your guys are healthy for that stretch.
I mean,
Then they get to fight in Caleb's after that.
We I don't care. That guy's a bum. I don't care. I don't care. I am not a fan of him.
I'm not either. I don't see it. I don't get it. I haven't gotten it when he was in college. I don't get it now. One of my friends from college is one of the biggest Bears fans in the world. And he was like, "Oh wow, we got Caleb Williams." I said, "Good luck." He's like, "What? You mean you don't like that pick?" I said, "Nope. Didn't like him in college. Don't like him now. Your string of crappy quarterbacks in Chicago is going to continue." And you hear all these people apologists for him and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I mean, if memory serves, it took two seasons for Ryan Leaf to melt down. And I'm sorry, Ryan, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I keep hammering this home. But you were the guy that had all the tools in the world. You got taken number 2 behind Peyton Manning. Caleb went number 1. I understand that. You went to a San Diego team that wasn't that great at that point in time, struggled, and didn't handle it real well. He's even admitted that. He's going to lose more games this season with the Bears than he did his entire college career. And if he needs help understanding how to deal with that, call Kyler Murray. Because he did the exact same thing. He lost more games his rookie year in Arizona than he lost his entire college and high school career.
So did Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Well, Trevor Lawrence lost his first pro game, and that was his first loss in middle school, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah.
That's a crazy stat right there. That is a crazy stat. I don't care. That is a crazy stat.
That is wild. Yeah. To not lose a game for like 6 years or something like that. That's just nuts.
All right.
That is absolutely nuts.
Rich, we've been completely off the rails. Obviously, you see in the background we have Steely McBean. We should probably talk a little Steelers. We're over an hour and 15 minutes. Our guests that are still sitting around, maybe they want to hear some Steeler talk. Maybe they don't. I don't know. No comments. No comments. Never log on, folks. Like, subscribe. Come over to the YouTube channel, Driving to the Top Productions. Yeah, get involved. You got something to say about the Steelers? Bring it on. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
We talked about this team last night, Rich. I hate to say it, but if these Falcons, if they would have been able to play maybe even a half of football all together in the preseason, they might have been clicking on all cylinders and found a way to beat us.
Well,
I said might. They didn't, so we're good.
If some butts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. I mean, when you sit there and you look at it, we got 2 W's. Did the defense carry this team to both W's? No question.
100%.
But your defense can play lights out. But if your offense is screwing the pooch, it's also going to cause you to lose games. And I said this last night on open mic. I've said it on Twitter. I've said it every place and to everyone that will listen. Justin Fields is not making mistakes that are costing the Steelers games. And that is huge. because I can guarantee you the last couple of years, the Steelers have had plenty of quarterbacks come rolling through here that do that exact thing. They make dumb mistakes that cost the Steelers games, whether it's Pickett, Trubisky, Rudolph, whoever. They've been making dumb mistakes that cost the Steelers games.
Right.
Fields is controlling the offense. He's doing fine with it. They're going and doing what they need to do as far as running the ball and that kind of thing. Thank God that we've got a great kicker like Chris Boswell.
Right.
But, this team is going to be defense first, and Fields is going to make sure that things don't get screwed up.
I agree. I completely agree. But there is a lot of question marks still.
Sure.
We scored in the end zone. Right. We put maybe 2 touchdowns in this week.
Hey, I don't care how we get the points as long as we get the points.
And
we win 2-0 on a safety. It's still a win.
Right. And I don't know if we are playing Justin Herbert or not. I have not seen the injury report. I did not look at it today.
The last time that I saw anything, which was this afternoon when I was looking at my DraftKings stuff, they were saying that he is probable to play. Probable or not, he's not going to be 100%.
Right.
If he plays, he ain't going to be 100%. He's a mobile quarterback. No question about that. On a trash ankle, I think that mobility gets cut. And with the defense that flies around like the Steelers defense does with their hair on fire, it's going to be real tough for a guy like Herbert to make any sort of headway. And the running game, for some crazy reason, people have this thought in their head. The Chargers now have this great running game and all that. Okay. Keep thinking that. I'm not dogging the Chargers, but when you sit and you look at how they've been going, I think their running game is going to get absolutely snuffed, and the Steelers are going to take care of their defense of their passing game too. It's just not going to be. It's not going to be the kind of game the Chargers want. Plus, they do have that little issue of West Coast coming to the East Coast for an early game. Most of the time, that doesn't work well for the West Coast team. Now, I get that Dobbins is doing his thing, but last I looked, Dobbins knows exactly what to expect from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's only played 3 games against them.
Doesn't take that long to know what's coming.
But he has averaged over 90 yards per game.
It's okay. He also had who do you have in the backfield with him? He had Lamar Jackson back there.
Well, now they have Gus Edwards and
he had Gus Edwards in Baltimore too.
Right.
But you had Lamar back there, who to me is the biggest running threat out of the 3 of them. You got to key on him. Now you can key on Dobbins, and I look for the Steelers to win this one. I don't think that it's going to be super high scoring. Bet the under. Actually, I'm trying to see what the over under even is on this game. I'll bet you it's about 40.
Want to make picks? Talk to John.
Huh?
You want to make picks? Talk to John. He does do a betting show still on the show.
Well, but I'm just saying. I'm just trying to see what the actual. I'm trying to find it, and I'm not seeing it right off the top. Let me put it to you this way: the last time these two teams played, it was 41-37 Chargers. It ain't going to be 41-37. Let's put it that
So we have a question from Trey, our Georgia Dogs podcaster. I don't know. I don't know. I expected. I was anticipating Miami to be knocking at the door, saying, "Can we get Wilson for a little bit?"
way. I think that Wilson, depending on what the neurologist says about Tua, if he says that Tua needs to hang it up at least for the year, then yeah, the Steelers are going to get that call. I
I don't know.
think that
They signed Tyler Huntley today. Tyler Huntley looks to be making the team.
well, but if you can go Tyler Huntley or Russell Wilson, who you going?
I'm going mobile. I'm going Tyler Huntley.
Really?
I am. We saw Tyler Huntley. He didn't do that bad when he was played against the Steelers. He wasn't that bad behind Lamar Jackson. Just knew he wasn't going to play.
I don't know. I think Wilson's going to get traded at some point. Um, I don't think he sees unless Justin Fields gets hurt. I don't think he makes it onto the field. I really don't. Um, as much as I hate to, as much as I hate to say this, the injury bug is costing Russ his job because he was supposed to start game one. And again, going back to the thing that Fields is not giving Tomlin any reason to pull him. He's not.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
I still think Russ was the decoy in order to bring Fields in.
Distinctly possible. And I mean, you got Russell Wilson for $50. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. They're paying what, $2 million for him this year? 1.5, something like that. Okay.
Right.
I mean, heck, that's less than you were paying any of those other yahoos you had in there last year.
I think Mason Rudolph's going to be the starter here soon in Tennessee if Levis keeps this up.
That tells you how bad the quarterbacking situation is in Tennessee.
So here we go, getting well off track again. Do you think Titan fans are kicking themselves for watching Willis go out there and at least throw one touchdown pass finally?
No, and I don't think that Levis is. I don't think Levis is as bad as he's playing. I think Levis is trying to do too much for whatever reason. Because both of those stupid the one was an interception, the one was a backward pass. The two stupid turnovers he committed were both when he was trying to make a play out of nothing. It wasn't one of those deals where it just was no effort or he hit a guy that was just wide open with an out pattern or something like that, misread a call, something like that. He was trying to do too much. Is Will Levis going to be Patrick Mahomes? No. But do I think that Levis could be a decent quarterback? Yeah. I mean, could he be Ryan Tannehill? Sure. And Tannehill did a lot of good things in Tennessee.
That's another guy I thought would have been getting the phone call.
That's the guy I thought was going to end up in Miami. I really did. I figured they were going to grab him up, and I don't know what the deal is that he isn't with somebody. He's got to be better than than most of the 32 backups that are out there.
Apparently not. That's why we're on the podcast again, Rich. We really don't know.
Yeah, but when you sit there and you really look at okay, Skylar Thompson, really?
That's why
That's Tua's backup. You can't tell me Tannehill isn't better than Skylar Thompson.
That's a bad. Oh, but he looked awful on that game the other day.
Who? Thompson?
Yeah. That was bad.
Thompson? He just doesn't. He doesn't really impress me. He didn't really impress me in college, to be honest.
So what were your thoughts on the game, Rich?
I thought that they played well enough to win. They played a team that, for whatever reason, they don't usually play extremely well in Denver. I don't know if it's the altitude or what it is. Um, but they're playing they're playing Steeler football, real Steeler football, smart football. Don't turn the ball over. Don't make stupid mistakes and play really good defense. That's what you've got in the first two games. Do I think Denver is a bad team? Yes. And you got to beat the bad teams. There's no question about that. I mean, Denver is bad. Is Bo Nix a horrible quarterback? The proof's going to be in the pudding on that one. I mean, he doesn't really have a ton of weapons around him right now. But do I think that Denver is a lower tier team in the NFL right now? Yes. Which is why I was glad the Steelers did what they did. You have to take advantage of those teams that are worse than you, because you're going to have a whole lot of teams that are as good or better than you coming up the last 8 games of the season.
Right. Right.
How about you?
Well, we took advantage of the bad decisions by Bo Nix deep in the zone. We got the interception. Um, their running game was non-existent again. Um, didn't matter who was running the ball. Our defense is just good. There's and but I mean, we get a little bit of a test this week, depending on what's going on with um, Herbert, because I don't even know who is it. Eric Stick,
Um,
their backup.
the Schultz.
I thought it was Stick.
Let's see. Do 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 do. The Easton Stick or Taylor Heineke.
Awful, awful.
I mean, Stick did okay last year when he filled in for Herbert. He did okay. He wasn't great, but he did okay.
Right, but that was with veteran receivers.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that to me is where the Chargers are a project this year. Um, they're gonna have to draft receivers next year. I mean, there's no either that or get free agent receivers, one or the other. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, because
Joshua Palmer, Quentin Johnson, and Lad McConkey.
is Lad McConkey really going to make that much of a difference? I don't know.
Maybe
I
I
mean,
don't
he
know.
might be. He's a Wes Welker, Julian Edelman type receiver. He could make a difference as a slot guy, but who's going to make those big plays? Who's going to open up the field like Keenan Allen and like Mike Williams did? Josh Palmer. I mean, can you depend on him?
I have Palmer and Johnson on my fantasy teams this week, so yes, you can.
I like Johnson at TCU. For some reason, when he became a professional, his hands turned to stone. He has all of a sudden become Ronnie Garvin. He's the man with the hands of stone, because he just cannot catch the ball.
We had a guy drafted like that. War number 14, Limas Swede.
Yeah, when he was at Texas, man, he was a stud. And when the Steelers drafted him, I was pumped. I was like, that's great. That's a great pick. We got him in like the 5th round or something like that.
Yeah,
4th or 5th round.
Just fell apart. I even had his jersey, Rich.
Oh yeah, and he couldn't catch a cold.
Now I'm gonna have to get pick and drop across the back.
And I told you I got a Deuce Staley Steelers jersey.
22, baby. 22. That was a fun year. Um, yeah, so it's just like if we don't play Justin Herbert, I really feel we're going to win this game big. If we do play Justin Herbert, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a close game either way. If you don't have Justin Herbert in there, they're going to really focus on the run and the short passes. I don't even talk intermediate. I'm talking short passes, quick passes, because Easton Stick or Taylor Heineke is going to have black and gold all over him all day, every time he drops back. Then it becomes a possession type game, because if the Chargers can eat the clock with the running game, get some points in. That's why I think the score, you're going to have something like 17-10 or 20-14 or something like that. You're not going to see anything in the 30s and 40s. I would be absolutely blown away if either team was like, I think 40 is the total. I don't think it's one team or the other. I think 40 is the total.
I think we can put up 35.
You do? Okay.
I'm going to live in confidence. I'm going to live in confidence land and maybe little Lulu land, whatever you want to call it. But I think we can do
Hey,
35.
trust me, I'm not going to be mad if they score over 30. I just don't think that's going to happen this week. But I mean, I'll tell you, I said this at the very beginning when we talked about the Steelers' schedule. I saw them going 7-2 in those first 9 games, and they're doing exactly what I expected them to do in the very beginning. And they should do the same thing again this week, and then next week, they've got another challenge out there in the Colts, who are beatable. And then after that, oh man, trust me, week 5, Sunday Night Football, I'm gonna be a very, very tough person to deal with around here, especially if the Steelers nail the Cowboys. Because if they nail them to the wall, it is going to be all over around here.
I'm waiting to hear. I'm waiting to hear your thoughts on that. Very excited about it. Now let's not look ahead because every time we look ahead, we don't do very well.
No, and that's this week's game. I think is going to be, like I say, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Steelers win and go to 3-0.
I think it's gonna be like 35-15, 35-10, maybe even
You
35
have
9.
watched you have watched the Steelers, right?
I have Dicker, so I need 5 field goals. That'd be great.
When's the last time they blew somebody out?
I don't.
That's what I'm sitting here thinking. You're putting that score out there, and I'm going, damn. When's the last time they blew somebody out? And I honestly don't remember when the last time once they blew somebody out. That's kind of scary, isn't it? But should be fun.
Do we get a date?
Say again?
Looks like we blew out the Jaguars.
You got last year?
I don't know. It doesn't say as I said. I wish they had a date.
Um,
I'll be
I was going to say I don't think they blew anybody out last year. Um, well, okay, yeah. I honestly forgot about this one.
what's that?
Uh, let's see, 34-11. They beat the Bengals. Um, last year. Then before that,
Yo. Yeah, playing nice. Sorry. That lockjaw is
they all
on
they all
tonight. I'm not getting out of her damn mouth.
say again.
Oh, I got it. Dog wants to play.
Gotcha.
And when that jaw is blocked, I'm not getting shit out of her mouth.
The last, my gosh, I'm all the way back to 21, and I'm not seeing anything that's more than 8 points. Outside of that game against Cincinnati last year, they won 34-11. Okay. Jacksonville 27-3 on November 22nd, 2020. They just don't blow people out for whatever reason.
Not Tomlin's thing.
I guess not.
Never was. That's why we don't beat bad teams, Rich.
Yeah.
But this year we're doing things we should do, and we're on the right path.
Right.
Now, if they were to lose to Denver, we'd all be in a different kind of rage.
Well, I don't know about rage, but yeah, we would have a little different mindset if they'd have lost to Denver. But well, man, we made it to 135.
See that? See that? Yeah. So what's your prediction this weekend?
Let's go 2014 Steelers.
You see how hyper she's getting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Go. That's it.
I gotta get things wrapped up here shortly.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We hit 138. We covered a lot of ground. A little more baseball tonight than football.
Yeah.
And I know my dog started getting a little crazy, but I don't have a studio, so I'm doing what I got to do here.
I understand. I do.
But yeah, Rich, how people get you, man? We will rejoin us. Are we gonna do this? Weren't they talking about doing something Sunday night now?
They were talking about it. I don't think anything ever actually came out of it though. So stay tuned.
All right.
Stay tuned on that one.
So
But
Rich,
yeah, at worst, I guess we got Tuesday night with open mic night.
Yep. Yes, sir. But Rich, how people get a hold of you, bud?
Yeah, man, on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it this week, it's Go Big, Go Home Pod. And on Facebook, it's my name, Rich Richardson. Love to get a chance to talk about what we've talked about here. If you got questions, comments, whatever, let me know. Let us know here on Driving to the Top Productions at YouTube or Twitter or wherever you catch our podcast at.
Absolutely. You can find us on Driving to the Top, like Rich said. I am at Sports Talking It. Hit me up there on the X, whatever we're hit me up there. Also, Driving to the Top if you want to get on there. It's not certified, but I do have all the emails opened up if you want to drop a message. Yeah, so that's where you find us. I thank you guys for tuning in tonight. You guys are more than welcome to jump over here on the YouTube channel, bullshit with us. Let us know what you think. Obviously, Phoenix gets involved in the show, and yeah, everybody have a good evening.
Night.